Queen Elizabeth II turns 91 on April 21, 2017. The longest reigning monarch, and the oldest serving head of state, has been reigning over the United Kingdom since 1952. We take a look at her illustrious, royal life through the periscope of 91 images. The Duke and Duchess of York with their daughter Princess Elizabeth, now Queen Elizabeth II, at her christening on May 1, 1926. A photo of Princess Elizabeth, January 1, 1929. Princess Elizabeth arriving at the 16th-century church at Balcombe, Sussex, for the wedding of Lady May Cambridge and Captain Henry Abel Smith on October 24, 1931. Princess Elizabeth walking bareheaded through the rain on her arrival home on May 27, 1932. 2-year-old Princess Margaret, L., with her sister Princess Elizabeth on January 1, 1933. Princess Elizabeth is seen in the Duchess's box at the Dick Whittington pantomime at the Lyceum Theatre, London on February 6, 1935. Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, with her eldest daughter Princess Elizabeth on the balcony of Buckingham Palace, after the coronation of King George, Virgin Islands, US on May 5, 1937. Princesses Elizabeth, C., and Margaret, R., launch a Model C plane at the Bekonscot Model Village in Beaconsfield, Buckinghamshire, England on April 1, 1939. Princess Elizabeth at Windsor Castle, Berkshire, Great Britain on June 22, 1940. Princess Elizabeth, R., and Princess Margaret in their Girl Guide uniforms practicing their bandagging technique on January 8, 1943. Princess Elizabeth, L., and Princess Margaret Rose photographed as they sign their savings certificates on January 9, 1943. Princess Elizabeth visits the National Sea Scouts exhibition at the London Scottish headquarters in Buckingham Gate on April 18, 1944. Princess Elizabeth's 18th birthday at the royal family's country estate on April 21, 1944. Pictured left-right, King George, Virgin Islands, US, Princess Elizabeth and Queen Elizabeth. Princess Elizabeth in a production of Old Mother Red Riding Boots on December 23, 1944. Princess Elizabeth, R., looks through a 100-year-old peep show during her visit to the National Book League in Albemarle Street, London on May 9, 1946. Princess Elizabeth at her desk in her sitting room at Buckingham Palace on September 19, 1946. Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip waved to the crowds from the balcony of Buckingham Palace on November 20, 1947, their wedding day. Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, with Prince Charles after his christening at Buckingham Palace on December 15, 1948. Princess Anne in the arms of Princess Elizabeth with the Duke of Edinburgh holding Prince Charles, in the grounds of Clarence House, their London residence, on August 9, 1951. Britain's Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, as they waved to supporters from the balcony at Buckingham Palace following her coronation at Westminster Abbey, London on June 2, 1953. Prime Minister Sir Winston Churchill bowing to Queen Elizabeth II as he welcomes her and the Duke of Edinburgh to 10 Downing Street for dinner on April 5, 1955. The Queen strolls through Windsor Great Park with Prince Charles, Princess Anne, and 2 of her corgis on their way to watch the Duke of Edinburgh play polo on June 2, 1956. The Queen in the Long Library at Sandringham shortly after making the traditional Christmas Day broadcast to the nation on December 25, 1957. Queen Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh with their 2 children, the Prince of Wales and Princess Anne, at Windsor Castle on May 28, 1959. The Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh with their guests, U.S. President John F. Kennedy and his wife Jacqueline, after dinner at Buckingham Palace on June 5, 1961. Queen Elizabeth II, left, wearing a leopard skin coat at a Sandown Park race meeting on March 23, 1962. Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip with their baby son, Prince Edward, on the balcony at Buckingham Palace during the Trooping the Colour ceremony on June 13, 1964. Queen Elizabeth II, baby Prince Edward, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, Prince Charles and the Duke of Edinburgh, in the gardens of Frogmore House, Windsor, Berkshire, as they celebrate the Queen's 39th birthday on April 21, 1965. England football captain Bobby Moore holds the Jules Rimet Trophy, collected from the Queen, after leading his team to victory over West Germany in the World Cup final at Wembley, London on July 30, 1966. Queen Elizabeth II at the garden party in the grounds of the Royal Hospital, Chelsea, London on June 1, 1967. The royal family in the grounds of Frogmore House, Windsor, Berkshire on April 21, 1968. Queen Elizabeth II formally investing her son Prince Charles with the coronet of the Prince of Wales during an investiture ceremony at Caernarfon Castle in Wales on July 1, 1969. He actually took on the title when he was 9, but the Queen insisted the ceremony should wait until he fully understood its significance. Queen Elizabeth II with Prime Minister Edward Heath, 2nd R., and American President Richard Nixon and his wife petted Chequers, Buckinghamshire on October 3, 1970. Queen Elizabeth II in her study at Balmoral Castle in Scotland on September 1, 1972. The Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, who is wearing the uniform of Admiral of the Fleet, celebrating their silver wedding anniversary in November 1972. Queen Elizabeth II smiling as she celebrates her 48th birthday at Windsor Castle on April 21, 1974. Queen Elizabeth II standing near an oak sapling which she planted in the garden of the government guest house in Tokyo, after it had been brought to Japan from Windsor Castle, on May 12, 1975. Queen Elizabeth II on her 50th birthday with Prince Philip and their youngest son Prince Edward, 12, in the grounds of Windsor Castle on April 21, 1976. Queen Elizabeth II on a walkabout in Portsmouth during her Silver Jubilee Tour of Great Britain on June 29, 1977. Queen Elizabeth II with the Jersey cow she was presented with at the country show at Le Petit Catelet, St. John, Jersey on June 27, 1978. Queen Elizabeth LL touring Nizwa with Qaboos bin Said Al Said, Sultan of Oman, during a state visit to Oman on February 28, 1979. The Queen with the Duke of Edinburgh and their children Prince Edward, L., Prince Charles, II from L., Princess Anne, C., and Prince Andrew, R., at Balmoral on September 1, 1979. Queen Elizabeth II walks through the crowds at a Royal Ascot race meeting on June 1, 1981. The Queen and Prince Charles during the Royal Polo match on January 1, 1982. The royal family on the balcony at Buckingham Palace for the Trooping the Colour ceremony on June 15, 1985 in London. The Queen smiles as she leaves the Royal Chapel in Windsor Great Park, England, after attending morning prayers on April 20, 1986. Queen Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh at the Baidling Pass on the Great Wall of China during their state visit to China, on October 14, 1986. Queen Elizabeth II with U.S. President Ronald Reagan and his wife Nancy at Buckingham Palace on June 14, 1989. Queen Elizabeth II with U.S. President Ronald Reagan and his wife Nancy at Buckingham Palace on June 14, 1989. Queen Elizabeth II surveying the scene following the fire at Windsor Castle on November 21, 1992. The Queen fires a shot in a standard SA-80 rifle at the Bisley Ranges, pictured with her chief instructor, Lt. Col. George Harvey, on July 9, 1993. Queen Elizabeth II walks amongst the graves at the Bayeux War Cemetery in France on June 6, 1994. President Nelson Mandela of South Africa, with Queen Elizabeth II, taking a carriage ride along the Mall to Buckingham Palace during a state visit to the UK on July 9, 1996. Queen Elizabeth II during her tour of Pakistan on January 1, 1997. Britain's Queen Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh view the floral tributes to Diana, Princess of Wales, at Buckingham Palace on August 17, 1997. Queen Elizabeth II shares a toast with Chinese President Jiang Zemin, right, during a banquet held at the Chinese Embassy in London on October 21, 1999. Queen Elizabeth II riding a small pony, instead of her usual horse, as she recovers from a leg operation in Windsor, Britain on April 14, 2003. Queen Elizabeth II, Prince Charles and Camilla, the Duchess of Cornwall attend the 2006 Braemar Gathering in Scotland. November 18, 2007, Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh revisit Broadlands where, 60 years previously, they spent their wedding night. Queen Elizabeth II makes a speech during a state banquet in honor of French President Nicolas Sarkozy on March 26, 2008 at Windsor Castle. The Queen waves as she arrives for the final day of the Cheltenham Festival horse racing meeting in Gloucestershire, Western England on March 13, 2009. Prince Charles kisses the hand of his mother after she presented him with the Royal Horticultural Society Victoria Medal of Honour, during a visit to the Chelsea Flower Show in London on May 18, 2009. Queen Elizabeth II walks across a red carpet laid on grass during a visit to the Royal Scots Dragoon Guards at Redford Barracks, Edinburgh on July 27, 2009. Queen Elizabeth II talking with Pope Benedict XVI during an audience in the morning drawing room at the Palace of Holyrood House in Edinburgh during a 4-day visit by the Pope to the UK. On September 16, 2010. Queen Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh attend the traditional Royal Maundy service at Westminster Abbey on her 85th birthday on April 21, 2011. Queen Elizabeth II and US President Barack Obama in Buckingham Palace, London, ahead of a state banquet on May 24, 2011. Viewing the interior of the refurbished East Wing of Somerset House at King's College in London on February 29, 2012. Queen Elizabeth II attends a service for the Order of the British Empire at St Paul's Cathedral on March 7, 2012 in London. Inspecting the guards during the ceremony to present new colours to the 1st Battalion and No. 7 Company Coldstream Guards at Windsor Castle, England on May 3, 2012. The Queen smiles after the Derby horse race at the Epsom Derby Festival on June 2, 2012. Prince Charles, the Queen and Prince William, stand on the balcony at Buckingham Palace during the Diamond Jubilee celebrations in central London on June 5, 2012. The Queen tours the Foreign and Commonwealth Office during an official visit in London on December 18, 2012. Receiving flowers from a child actor as she inspects the horse prop from the theatre production War Horse during a visit to the National Theatre in London on October 22, 2013. The Queen enjoys a light moment after bidding farewell to the President of Ireland Michael D. Higgins and his wife Sabina at Windsor Castle on April 11, 2014. Queen Elizabeth pats former Grand National race favourite Tiffer 3 during her visit to Cots Equine Hospital in Narberth, Wales on April 29, 2014. a local youth takes a selfie in front of Queen Elizabeth II during a visit to St George's Indoor Market on June 24, 2014 in Belfast, Northern Ireland. The Queen meets construction workers as she attends the official opening of the refurbished Reading Station, west of London on July 17, 2014. Angelina Jolie, R., being presented with the insignia of an honorary Dame Commander of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George by Queen Elizabeth II in the 1844 room at Buckingham Palace, London on October 10, 2014. Walking through a field of ceramic poppies that form part of the art installation Blood-Swept Lands and Seas of Red, at the Tower of London on October 16, 2014. With husband Prince Philip, leaving after the Afghanistan service of commemoration at St. Paul's Cathedral in London on March 13, 2015. Queen Elizabeth II crosses her fingers as she watches her horse, Ring of Truth, run in the Albaste Equirolled EBF Stallions Maiden Stakes at Newbury Racecourse on April 17, 2015 in Newbury, England. Being driven by carriage from Buckingham Palace to the Houses of Parliament during the state opening of Parliament in central London on May 27, 2015. Holds an umbrella as she visits Lancaster Castle on May 29, 2015 in Lancaster, England. Britain's Prince William, centre, holds his son Prince George, with Queen Elizabeth II, Kate, Duchess of Cambridge, third from right, the Prince of Wales, left, and Prince Harry, right, during the Trooping the Colour Parade at Buckingham Palace on June 13, 2015. The Queen and Prince Philip ride in a carriage during the Trooping the Colour Parade at Buckingham Palace in London on June 13, 2015. With Prince Philip on the balcony of Romer Town Hall in Frankfurt, Germany on June 25, 2015. Queen Elizabeth II proceeds through the Royal Gallery before the state opening of Parliament in the House of Lords at the Palace of Westminster on May 27, 2015. Queen Elizabeth II smiles as she arrives at Reedbank Station on September 9, 2015 in Scotland. The Queen lays a wreath during the annual Remembrance Sunday service at the Cenotaph, Whitehall on November 8, 2015 in London, England. Queen Elizabeth II departing King's Lynn by train, Norfolk, Britain on February 8, 2016. Queen Elizabeth II and the Duke of Edinburgh, feed Donna the elephant during the opening of new Centre for Elephant Care at Whipsnade Zoo on April 11, 2017, in Dunstable, UK.